for it. Finally. We'd like to thank all the speakers for coming and speaking. We'll move on to the last segment for today, which is the panel discussion, which is going to be moderated by Tony Asankomah. And then we are discussing the topic, the state of the industry, its future and its prospects. So with a round of applause, let's humbly invite all the speakers to come here, please. Speakers.
Okay, so I want to have on stage Pascal, Francis Y. Brown, M.Sayibu, and Iddris. The mic. Okay, thank you guys for being patient with us. I know we've grilled you a lot, and this is just the last segment of the event, and then you can call it a night. GH MovieCon, by the way, will be happening every year. This is our first year. I know it's a slow start, but with all the support we can get from you guys, we can continue to make this happen. So thank you. So the panel discussion for today, we are looking at the state of the Ghana film industry, its future and its prospects. And you would agree with me that the gentlemen I have here with me on the panel have put in amazing work over the years, and from what they've showed us so far in this event, it goes to prove that 2020 is really the year for the come up of the Ghana film industry. So kindly give them a round of applause. Right. So over to the reason why I chose to have this conversation with them. Well, I'll explain. Let's just dive in. From your own perspectives, what would you describe as the state of the Ghana film industry? Yeah, Pascal.
I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The state, I mean, we spoke about this many times. I mean, we are not in the golden era. What I feel is the most recent golden era of the film industry, our film industry, maybe the 2000s to maybe like 2012. You know what I mean? The periods where, you know, what are known out there, our biggest stars became so big, and when Ghana and Nigeria were both flourishing together, etc. Those days are gone. So now we're in a transitional period, so to speak. So things are empty, but because empty, that's why we can rebuild. You know, the digital age has come. We made that transition a little bit, you know. So, but after 12 years, whatever, we still have the same amount of cinemas. Yeah, but hopefully, especially with the emergence of platforms like Momomo, hey, now is awake, and platforms like Kumba, we can gradually make that transition digitally so that more people in this house can say that they have seen Gold Coast Lounge. Yes, as opposed to just coming here.
Sayibu, I'd like to take your thoughts on that as well.
Is this working? I think I agree with him that we're sort of in a transitional period, but I also think that it's more of an evolutionary period for the film industry. Because, can you all right, we're good. Yeah, I think that we're kind of in an evolutionary sort of state for the film industry because, contrary to what people believe, Ghana film was actually quite prolific at one point. It's just been in a cocoon for a minute. And now it's gonna come, the butterfly is sort of coming out. That's how I see it. Because when I was growing up, I watched movies like The Police Officer, which was, you know, a very sort of fundamental movie for me. Oh, yeah. Fundamental movie for me was Police Officer, starring Brew Riverson. Please, let's get that guy out of retirement. And you know, and you know, like with the stuff that Pawansa did, you know, Sika Sum Sum, all these things, we, like I said, like the thing has been there already, but now we've reached an age where we finally get to be able to take it out there, you know, to let people know that we have that, and not just in different genres, you know, like Afro Noir, like as he did, and we have action over here, and of course we're doing a little bit of sci-fi and animation. Like seriously, this is an evolution, man. Like 2 years from now, when we come back to Comic-Con, it's gonna MovieCon is gonna be something else entirely.
Con.
Thank you. So I'd like to combine yours and my brother here. So basically, what it has been throughout the years is actually a movement. It's been a movement that has been a long time coming. But then what I see happening right now is now we are entering into a proper industry. It was not an industry because we couldn't even boast of a film board or an authority. Now we have an authority to set things in place. We have all these platforms also segregating all the content that are coming out. We have all the crew members in the industry, in the movements and guilds coming together and understanding the craft of filmmaking. So now we are tiptoeing into an industry from a movement.
Let's Abu's thoughts on the.
Okay, I think the Ghana film industry is in its best days. Why? Because okay, I don't mean to offend anybody, but let's say the past 10 years, even those who became stars made it through movies that they wouldn't want to watch today. And in somehow we are changing the audience too, because sorry again, but I mean most Ghanaian audience love the Kumout stuff, and you know that kind of brains. It's like they've been conditioned to accept certain kind of movies. You get it? And so it's always been the days of the VCDs where even the market woman has access, so it's easy for you to become a star known by a lot of market women. But the real people, everyone is a person, but the kind of audience we want to watch and promote and talk about movies were very little at that time. Now, someone who was probably 10 years ago is now 18. So we are changing the audience, and then also population of the kind of audience we want for our film is increasing. I mean, population comes with advantage. You know, let's say Nigeria and Ghana, if you have they have 100 and something million people, we have 30 million. If they have 10 cinemas, we have 1. When they have 2, when they have 20, sorry, I think I'm messing up. What I'm trying to say is population comes with an advantage. A country with 20 million people can have 10 creatives, 10 thieves, 10 politicians. And a country with 30 million people can have 2 creatives, 2 thieves, 2 politicians. So the more the number rises, the better for the industry. And I think that is the phase we're in, and it's a very good opportunity.
Wow, awesome.
So you say we should make more babies. Is that what you're saying?
Come again?
You're saying we should make more babies.
Oh, okay. Not really.
Okay.
But we are growing, right?
Let's carry the conversation a little bit deeper. He made mention about something that I would like to say. Hold on, we'll come to the questions part. Thank you. What would you say are the current strengths of our industry? Because I don't want to believe that there are no strengths for our industry. So what would you say are the strengths of the Ghana film industry?
Okay, personally, I think at this point it's talent. We have a lot of talent, but very few opportunities. People who can create stuff, but there are limitations, even including technical know-how. I mean, and this is the hard truth. Let someone come, someone give us money right now, say $100 billion. We still can't have enough filmmakers to make great films. We still need to learn, like a lot of us need to learn, and that's also a challenge. So our strength is in talents. Thank you.
Pascal, what do you think about that?
Well, being in Nigeria for like twice this year, I know it's a small number compared to a lot of people, but for someone who has stayed here straightforward for like 8 years straight and moving outside, I would say the perception of Ghanaian films is actually pretty high. Outside, the percent of Ghanaian films outside is actually pretty high. Because we were in Afri a few months ago, me and Francis, and where's Boat? Boat, you there? Boat, you're still here. You're tired. And seriously, just Nigerian filmmakers and people of outside really respect what we do when they do see our work. You know, at the same time, I'm the guy who said that, you know, our industry is dead, you know, I mean, all those things. But the films that they know about, the Ghanaian films that they know about outside, they respect what we do. You know, they respect what we do. So, yeah, so it is a rebirth. So the strengths, I would say, when you say talent, I'll go deep on that, and I'll say we do have a pool. I'm going to say this. A lot of people will not talk about actors. I think that's my focus for today, okay? Sometimes we do these talks, and I get bored. We'll talk about the same thing over and over again. But my theme of today is actors. I want to focus on that. So he spoke about talent. I'm going to talk about specifically the acting talent. I like to say that, you know, we have people, human beings, bodies that can transform into agents of a story and tell a proper story. You know, I'm a bit slightly concerned, not too much, about how there are so many great actors today that are finding difficult to have that platform to actually express their talents and then build their market. Because when we make a film, the people you put on your poster are the people that will sell your film. You know what I mean? Of course, there's some directors, you put their names on there, they become so big. You know, like once a Tyler Perry film, everybody will come watch it, whether it's good or not, at this point, because he made a lot of good films. You go to Asankomah I play, you know it's going to be good because of his name. But I want us to get to a point very soon that we have actors whose names are there, whose names are big because of their talent. I want a film where once you see Joseph Ochiman in there, you know, like, I'm going to watch this film because this guy can act his ass off. This guy can tell a story. I want a film you put Alphonse Mignon in there and you know that it's going to be great. So we have a strong pool of talent. These are not necessarily people that the Ghanaian audience know in terms of, what's it called, vast numbers, like John Mellos or Majid Michel. All I can say is Jackie Appiah can decide not to act in the film in the next 3-4 years, but then she's going to be the actress that everybody knows in Ghana because of these issues that we're talking about. So the strength that we do have, actors, we have them in abundance. But then once we solve the other problems, all of you upcoming actors that are coming to me, if you have the talent, you have the platform, and then you get big. That's all.
So aside talent, to me, I think the main thing is the energy that I'm seeing around. A lot of people are really, really now more enthusiastic about the whole film movement, the whole film industry, trying to create here and there. Now people are buying a lot of cameras, learning about it, going on YouTube, going on platforms that they can enhance their knowledge in their film industry. So to me, it's more about the energy first before the talent, because talent, everyone has it. Every country has a lot of talent. But then if you're looking at the main thing that would drive the industry is the energy.
I think that they've all kind of said a lot of it, but say when you put those three together, you get what is the passion behind all these things. There's a lot of passion. I mean, you gotta have passion to do even like Kuma Wood stuff. If you don't have passion for that stuff, you're not gonna be doing it. So I think that we have that in droves. We kind of have a huge quantity of passion that I believe now is getting sort of refined and focused, so that we can kind of come up with things that not only appeal to us, but to the whole world. And in that way, we share our culture. The reason why a lot of us today know about certain things is because you probably saw it in the movie, like when you were growing up. And I think that with that passion that we have, that kind of strength, you know, like I'm going to use an example of when we're shooting down in Sege on this movie that we showed you. there was a lot of times when things would not go the way that you would expect it to go. You know, if you're coming from, like, I lived in LA for a little bit, in Santa Monica as well. So I'm very happy that you're from there. And things go a little differently most of the time management, all these type of things. But the passion here is what moves it. Because in the States, when those things break down, a lot of things go wrong. Because it's sort of like, in a way, it's kind of more bureaucratic now. You know, but here it's all about the passion. When we go somewhere and something is not there, we're like, hey, we're going to be able to fix it in this way. And I think that is the strength. When you put all that together, you get that passion. And now we're kind of focusing in a good place.
Wow. Wow. So we've talked about talent, passion, energy, acting talent. When we put all that mix together, my follow-up question is, we've done all of that. How do we get our audience to go watch more of Ghanaian films? We know there's a deficit when it comes to cinemas. How do we still get to utilize to the full extent the cinemas that we have?
I think that a lot of the times we have underestimated our audience. And in a way, that's a bit insulting to our Ghanaian audience, because these are the same people who watch Game of Thrones. So it's not about, you know, I think that the main thing is tell good stories and connect with them. If you connect, they're going to come. Because Game of Thrones is happening all the way in the States. And I have a lot of, half of the people that I know over here were buffs about that. Like, they were so crazy about it. And that's something that's not coming from Ghana. And they have to go through a whole lot of, loopholes to find Game of Thrones and watch it. You know? So that's what happens when you tell a good story, when you're able to connect with people. And I think that it's, it's our responsibility as filmmakers to make sure that we do something that deserves their attention.
Francis, do you have a bite on that? So, yeah.
Okay, adding to what Sayibu just said, I mean, first, to make great content for our audience and not think them stupid. I mean, that's what some of the movies have been doing for a very long time. Some of the comedies are being forced in a way, and, you know, it's like every Ghanaian is supposed to enjoy it that way, but that's not the case. So, yeah, the content is one. And I think second is support. We need to support ourselves as filmmakers. We lie to ourselves a lot, okay? We lie to ourselves a lot. You see a friend, a colleague make a film, he has a lot of stars, it's a good film, you promote it, and then your film comes, he can see it's a good film, but maybe you don't have the quality of stars he has or the number of stars he has, then he ignores your film. We don't even support ourselves. That has to change, because these are the same audience we're marketing to. So if they can see us support each other, they would want to think we are united, and then every good film deserves an audience. So it's also very important. And also we need to improve on our marketing. Most often you budget for production without marketing budget. I mean, people have done this. I know it's some way, but yeah, it has happened in Ghana. You meet a client, you do budgeting, you talk of production and post, and then you forget marketing. And then you want to rely on just the stars or the faces or the actors, your social media. It goes way beyond that. So if you can also improve on marketing, it's something that will help, sell Ghanaian movies to the audience. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Abu made mention of the fact that comedy has become a bit stale, in a way, and that there was the need to branch out to find different visual styles of storytelling. My question for you guys is, how do we get our audience again to accept different styles of filmmaking? For instance, Pascal Aka introduced Afro Noir to us, which is virtually, I have friends who went to see Gold Coast Lounge and were like, what is happening? And it sounds strange to them that that genre of film is even called Afro Noir. So how do we get the audience to understand the various styles of visual storytelling?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. No, truthfully, I don't know the answer, so I'm just searching for that answer. At the end of the day, we all agree that, regardless of the state of the industry, regardless of whatever we're trying to do, we have to do it, right? I think we can all agree with that. We just have to keep doing whatever we're doing, every single industry in every single country, whenever it's like it's low, it's high, or the audience watching movies or not, at the end of the day, you have to keep pushing. I really respect Uncle Ibo White and where he is right now. I wish to be, at least marketing-wise and business-wise, where Uncle Ibo White is. People pay 80 Ghana cedis or more to go watch his plays multiple times at night. And then by the end of the year, all his plays, he plays them all over again, etc. You know what I mean? And these are great productions. Once his name is there, people are going to come and watch. We can do that with our films as long as we are consistent. This guy sold his car for his first play. He sold his car. He sold it. He was broke, but he kept pushing over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. It's difficult, but we just have to keep doing it. Now, as far as the different genres are concerned, the thing is, the idea of the romantic comedies or romance and comedy and stuff, the reason why people keep doing it is because people keep buying it. I mean, we all love romance and comedy, right? Raise your hand if you like romance and comedy. Yes, there you go. You know what I mean? So they have to be there because it's done. So the reason why people are not doing the other genres, we all know it's difficult. It is hard. Majid, Abu, we are mad. The three of us, we're mad people. You two, you're mad. Why are you doing animation? Nobody's doing animation. You know what I mean? Tony, you brought 4 madmen on your thing. Congratulations. So we are proud of what we're doing. I mean, gradually, we're 4 guys that do what we can to create something new and stuff. And these are some things that you people have shown appreciation in other industries. And it's new in these industries, but it takes time to grow. So I'm not saying we're not doing well, because I think I'm okay, I'm cool. You guys are doing great. But it's one of those things that whatever is there right now in our foods or in our culture, in our dance, they're there in the flourishing because they started somewhere and they were there consistently, okay? I'm finding it difficult to stop eating meat and chicken. I tried to be vegan for like 10 days, like just quit yesterday. Why am I announcing this here? The reason why I'm saying this, why it's difficult, because my whole 34 years of my life, I've been eating chicken and meat the whole time. It was there in abundance. You understand? So there's nothing wrong with those rom-coms. For me personally, they bore me because it's always there. And for me personally, the reason why I'm against a lot of these things is because I care a lot about putting out content that shows a positive image of who we are. You understand? So, I mean, you mentioned Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's great. You mentioned even Avengers, all those things, Black Panther. They have positive messages if you think about it. You understand? So the thing is, if I'm watching a film, if it makes me laugh, at the end of the day, it needs to make sense. There needs to be some sense in there. I need to go in there and laugh and leave still inspired. I mean, there's this favorite quote from one of my favorite comedy films from Tropic Thunder. You don't go full retard. A movie about, what's it called? Forrest Gump. Very simple. It's a movie about a guy who's mentally challenged. That guy's smart. He's mentally challenged. Forrest Gump is mentally challenged. He won an Oscar for that film, not because he was dumb throughout the whole movie. He was in love, and he did some really great things that we smart people, we people that are not mentally challenged wouldn't do. So basically, we need to make films that make sense. We have a National Film Authority. Which authority? What films are they going to have authority over? A film that is about dumb people from beginning to end. A film, you understand? So if we make films, as entertaining as they are, they need to make sense. They need to have some sense. They need to make films that show a positive image of who we are, because that's what we did with music videos. And I was there. So now with our films, we need to be entertaining, but at the same time make films that we can actually not be ashamed to show to the president, not be ashamed to show to Mr. David Donto. We watched this guy for decades. We respect this man. So we need to continue making films that we respect. You understand? And that he can watch and actually appreciate and say, this is something that we're proud of. This is something that is entertaining, but that we are not ashamed of as well. Let's be responsible with the films that we're making, no matter what genre. That is all.
Abu, well, what do you have to say about that?
The question again.
I was asking.
If you're not ready, I can so that you think about your.
Come again.
I can go so that you think about what you want to say. All right, so
Go on, go,
basically,
go, Francis.
Pascal just laid it flat. I think we are now being very honest here, and see, we are not here to please anybody. We need to break things down so that we get out of here with something to go work on, so that this industry will grow. He talked about consistency. He talked about yeah. He talked about all of that, and my main thing is about technicality. It's a huge problem here. Like we see a lot of people trooping to Silverbeds all the time to come and watch all these Marvel films. A lot of them don't make sense, honestly. It is all the beautiful technicalities in those films that make people run here to come and see all the blowing of cars, jumping on buildings here and there. We can do it as well. But then whenever, unfortunately, a Ghanaian or an African is trying some of these things, we do it halfway through. Like, it's a very mediocre way of doing things. And if we break that particular nut, I'm sure we can get a lot of people appreciating different genres. It needs to make sense story-wise, fine. But it needs to be appealing enough for someone to even sit to understand the story. If it's not appealing, I'll close the film. I'll move to the next. No, I'll go for a Hollywood film that will just give me beautiful pictures, and at the end of the day, I'll be happy. So technicalities. A lot of our people are always rushing to put out films because they want to have instant gratification. That thing is not in filmmaking. If you don't have patience, get out, go and find banking to do. Straight. If you want to be in the film industry, you need to be someone who pays attention to details, and details comes with the technicalities. Thank you.
Wow. I think we're running out of time, so can you make it brief for us?
Okay, I think he said part of what I wanted to say, that we should hello, that if you attempt anything, you should do them right. You know, it's like people who watch Game of Thrones, people who watch all these foreign series are the same people who see the film. So, say you're attempting something and you don't do it right, of course it will put people off. And I would like to appeal to all of us filmmakers. I think some of these technicalities or secrets in other genres are actually very easy if you're willing to learn. I was actually personally disappointed in a colleague filmmaker. 2018, we are hanging a person and you're doing close-up of the head, close-up of the leg. I think I'm the first person to hang full human being in a movie twice. These things are easy. Anybody can do, but it's like, is it laziness? What's the problem? Like, why don't you, if you're going to hang a person, hang the person right. If you're going to make a human being fly, let it fly like Superman, or don't do it at all.
I did that.
You get it? So I think that's just it. If we attempt and we do them right, people will accept it. I think that there's a quite a number of people interested in different something else. When I attempted my first vampire series that I locked and stopped, I realized people loved it. People wanted to see more. You get it? And when I did the psychological thriller, I remember certain filmmakers I didn't expect actually just came to see. There are people out there who want to see something different. Only they are not the larger audience, but there are people and they are gradually growing. So if you can do them right, I'm sure we can make a difference.
And that thing that we always lie to ourselves with, saying when we make mistakes in our films, we say it's my style. No, it's not my style. It's a mistake. You need to accept it and correct it. It's not a style.
All right, let's take Sayibu's thoughts on that. And
I think there's something that I hear a lot in LA where they say, "What's the hook?" You get it? What's the hook for your story? And I think that really is what can help our audience to sort of navigate their way. Because when you think about Game of Thrones, the hook is there's a bunch of people who are probably going to betray and kill each other to get to the top. Do you want to see how that ends? Yeah. So I feel like what we have to do is try to make sure our hook is a bit more apparent to the audience.
Spread the word. GH MovieCon is a yearly event. GH MovieCon 2021 is going to come on. Thank you.